All right, they're champs, but will it be a dynasty? The Denver Nuggets getting ready to get the 2023-2024 NBA season underway on Tuesday night, October the 24th. And that, of course, means the Nuggets defending their first ever NBA championship from a season ago.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. And who doesn't love a winner? Championship Boulevard officially coming out on Monday at 90 Sports. Jacob Tobey joins us with a bit more of a Nuggets season preview. So if you're new to the Nuggets or maybe just kind of a fair weather fan, this is probably the segment for you because
Place to be, man.
Place to be. Jacob, overall, how are the Nuggets looking as we head into the next year?
They're looking a little different. Obviously, they have the same core of guys that we all know and love, right? Nikola Jokic, two-time MVP. Jamal Murray, who's now, 2 years removed away from tearing his ACL. This will be his first season not having to really think about it at all because, last year, slow ramp up. He didn't really feel like himself till kind of that December, January area. And obviously, we saw him perform high in the playoffs. And that's kind of what we expect from him going forward is that, playoff Jamal Murray. Michael Porter Jr. is, progressing as an all-around player. He's not just a shooter anymore. He showed us that in the finals. When his shot wasn't falling, he defended, he rebounded, and he really improved as an all-around player. So the core is there. They lose a couple guys. They lose Bruce Brown. They lose Jeff Green. And so it's a little different mix. They have some younger guys coming in. They're gonna lean a lot on the younger guys this year, specifically on the bench in that second unit. Coach Malone has said Jamal Murray's gonna play a lot with the backups, so he kind of wants Jamal or Nikola on the floor at all times. So if Nikola subs out, Jamal's gonna stay in the game pretty much. And vice versa.
What's the reason behind that?
I mean, they're just the two best players on the team. They don't have as much depth as they did last year, so they kind of want to make sure they have a guy that knows what's going on the court at all times versus just handing it over to, 3 or 4 of the younger guys. So I think it makes a lot of sense that way. But so in a lot of ways, they'll be similar, but in a lot of ways, they'll be different. But, sometimes change is good. Obviously, credit to Bruce Brown. He got paid by the Pacers. The Nuggets just simply could not afford to keep Bruce Brown, although it would have been nice. I don't think they win the championship without Bruce Brown. He was so good off the bench. So, but they'll look a little different. But at the end of the day, they're the defending champs. And until they lose in the playoffs in April, May, or June, they're the champs regardless. And you can't take that away from them.
Does that mean they have more of a target on their back this year?
Yeah.
How does that change things?
That's literally the number one thing that Coach Malone has talked about throughout the preseason training camp as we ramp up to get to the regular season. I was just at practice on Monday, and everyone is taking the approach of, we're going to be the hunted now. We're not, everyone wants to beat the champs. Michael Porter Jr. said today, when they played the Bucks a couple years ago when they won, they felt that the game meant a little bit more in the regular season just because they were the champs. And if you beat the champs, albeit in a regular season game, you feel like you can beat anybody. So
fair.
Everyone's going to want to beat the Nuggets this year, especially because there was not a ton of belief that the Nuggets could actually do it. And so they did it. They got all the recognition for it. Now people are saying, well, they can't do it again. There's no way. That was a one-year fluke. And so people will be extra jazzed and pumped up to play the Nuggets, especially the Lakers, on opening night when they're going to see a banner be raised in Denver when they got swept last year in the Western Conference Finals. So there's going to be a lot of bad blood, I think, tomorrow night. It'll be a fun watch. But all season long, they'll be the hunted. There's no doubt about it. They're at the top of the mountain, and people are now climbing to get there. So it'll be interesting to see how Denver handles that because they've never been in that spot before. They've always been the young team that was never good enough. They've always been, Nikola's good, but he's not great. Jamal got hurt, so they're not, Michael Porter Jr. is hurt. They're not that good this year. Everyone's healthy, pretty much. They won a championship. Now they're at the top of the mountain.
I guess that kind of brings me to the point. Maybe you mentioned how Bruce Brown was such a key. I also think about how relatively healthy the Nuggets were throughout most of last year. They didn't have any, back-breaking injuries necessarily. How important, especially with maybe a thinner bench with the loss of Bruce Brown, is it for the Nuggets to stay healthy this year?
Yeah, it's crucial. I mean, just this training camp, Michael Porter Jr. sprained his ankle on the third day of training camp out in Los Angeles. Or in San Diego, and he didn't play in any preseason games. He says he's, almost at 100%, still weary of it a little bit, still sore at times, but Hill will play on Tuesday night. Christian Brown didn't play with a leg contusion, I believe. he hadn't played in all preseason games either, and that's a guy that is heavily counted on. And his second year in the NBA, he's the Nuggets sixth man with Bruce Brown leaving. That's Christian Brown's spot. And he didn't play in the preseason either. So those two guys are super important. They feel good. They're going to play on Tuesday against the Lakers, so that's good. But, yeah, I mean, Nikola, you always don't want to push him too much. He played a ton of minutes in the playoffs, and rightfully so. I mean, he's the best player in the world. So you want to be careful with him earlier in the season. Jamal Murray played a ton of minutes coming off the ACL injury. But, again, he's feeling confident. He didn't play for Team Canada this year in the World Cup this summer because he wanted to give himself that extra rest to be ready for the NBA season. He'll probably play in the Olympics next summer, same with Jokic, but they both elected not to play this summer for Serbia and Canada just to feel fresh, stay healthy. It was a long playoff run. Nikola joked about it on media day. It wasn't the most fun summer for him because it was a short summer. And that's good if you're the NBA, an NBA team because you won the championship. If it's summer short, you won the title. So it's a good thing and bad thing. But, yeah, staying healthy is crucial. It's the number one thing for this team.
And he got to hang out with his horses.
He did. He had a good summer.
Yeah, you saw the videos, I'm sure. He
was dancing.
He was dancing. He was doing his thing.
Yeah.
He's also only 28. And the thing that strikes me about that is he's been in the NBA now for close to a decade, but he's still only 28. Is it possible for him to even get better? Is that a wild thought?
I think so. I think 3-point shooting, he's a good 3-point shooter. I think he could be a great 3-point shooter. He could take more if he wanted to. Becoming an even better defender. Now, people, for lack of a better phrase, crapped on his defense for the last couple of years, but it was actually pretty good in the playoffs. Specifically against, in the finals against the Heat, against Bam Adebayo, he was pretty good in defending him. He's never going to be like this freak athlete blocking shots. That's like not Jokic's game. His game is just staying in front of his man, defending, being strong, kind of bullying his way through like I just kind of did there. That hurt you? Yeah, it was. Yeah. But like that's his game, right? So he could become a better defender, even though he's a decent one now. That can always grow. So and I think Coach Malone has talked about this a lot this preseason. He can always become a better leader. He can always be more vocal. He's so quiet. He's so kept to himself, which is good. But he's also the best player in the world, so you want him to take leadership of this team, and that's what Coach Malone has talked about too. Is like he wants Jamal and Nikola to take control of this team. Last year he had vets. Jeff Green, he's gone. DeAndre Jordan still here, but not a rotation player by any means for this team. He's a locker room guy. So they want someone on the court that can be that leader and have Jamal be more vocal, have Nikola be more vocal. So that's kind of his challenge. It's maybe sort of less on the court and more upstairs and in the locker room.
Interesting. Justin Holiday, rookie Julian Strawther, the kind of two, I guess, new names that will be involved. I think there's some hype, excitement around Strawther in particular. Can you tell us a bit more about those two guys? Yeah,
Strawther is cool. Super young guy. I think comes in, just gives a feel that he's ready for the moment. Confident. He played at Gonzaga, played in some big games. He actually played in Denver at Ball Arena in the NCAA tournament, won 2 games, had a big game in the round of 64. So he's already felt pretty comfortable in Ball Arena. And he was the preseason darling, preseason star. I mean, he shot, I think, 45% from 3, averaged like 18 points per game. Now it's preseason. There's a lot of guys not playing. But at the end of the day, you'd rather be that guy than like scoring 2 points and like shooting bad from the field. So Strawther has a decent chance of cracking the rotation. You kind of have to look at Christian Brown last year.
Right. That's
like the exact. No, they're totally different players. Strawther's a way better shooter than Christian Brown, but better scorer, not the defender that Brown is, and that's how Brown got on the floor, was defending. So you kind of watch Strawther and see how he defends, and that's probably how he'll sort of get onto the floor. But the second unit will need offense too, so I'm sure Coach Malone won't be afraid to put him in. I'm not sure about opening night. That's a pretty big feeling for a young guy to go in there. But and you look at Justin Holiday too. Like, guy's been around. He's played on a multitude of different teams. He's been a bench player for his career. He's a leader. He understands how to win, and I like that piece being added. You lose Jeff Green as a veteran, you gain Justin Holiday, and you also have Reggie Jackson, who will, Colorado Springs native. People love him around here. Palmer High School. And he's going to be a backup point guard, and he's he'll be in a more elevated role. Last year didn't play as much as maybe we thought he would, but this year he's going to play a decent amount because Bruce Brown left. So those three guys are going to be crucial to the bench, and all three of them probably won't play a lot this season. You probably have to pick one or two. So can Strother crack the rotation as a rookie? We'll see. We got 82 games to find out.
I guess one thing that struck me about this team is that as soon as I remember, even in the post-game interviews after they won against the Heat, the Nuggets were already starting to talk about a dynasty specifically.
Yeah, why not?
Malone used that word right after he said, "This is what is he said? This isn't just the first."
Yeah, he said it on the stage.
On the stage,
not even in the post-game press conference. So, like right after they won, the confetti's still coming down. Talked about a dynasty.
Yeah, so he's talking dynasty. I mean, yes, you lose Bruce Brown, you gain just Julian Strother. This is mostly 90-95% the same team. You think that's a realistic expectation, dynasty?
Should be. It has to be. I mean, to really even consider being a dynasty, you have to win like at least three, probably. Like three is kind of like the thing when you think of dynasties. Like three is a number. So if they can win it back to back, that'll really put them in a trajectory towards being a dynasty. I mean, there's the formula is there. The Nuggets front office has done a great job. Nikola's locked up, for a while. Jamal Murray could sign an extension if he wanted to. He hasn't yet. That's kind of
when's he up?
The question. I think he's up after next year. He could sign an extension if he wanted to. He's going to wait a little bit on that. I don't imagine him leaving this city. He's such a good fit and he's so smart. He knows he plays so well with Nikola. I don't know why he would want to leave here. And the Nuggets will pay him whatever he wants. So that's really not a problem. I think he's just trying to maximize his value and his opportunity. But the blueprint's there. They have those two guys. Michael Porter Jr.'s continue to progress as an all-around player. There is absolutely no reason why they can't win. The second straight. Aaron Gordon's still here. 2 straight. 3 in 5 years. Like that. Those are goals that are super attainable. I think as long as you're healthy, as long as you still have the best player in the world, you can't count him out. Because you look around the league, as long as LeBron's on the Lakers or any team he's on, they're in contention. Steph Curry and the Warriors, they're always in the conversation. Nikola Jokic has put himself in that position to be as long as they have Nikola, they'll be in the conversation, and that's a good place to be in, especially when the Nuggets haven't been in that position in a long time, long time.
Long time.
Yeah, even before Melo, go back to the 80s, it's been that long. So,
I mean, I guess with that in mind, that's the optimistic side. What teams, what internal things do you see within the Nuggets that could keep them from winning this year? Is it injuries?
I mean, yeah, it's always injuries, but also
the Suns.
The Suns, Bradley Beal coming over to play with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. That's tough. A lot of scoring. There's only one basketball, so it may not work out. But for right now, on paper, they're a pretty good team. Can't forget about the Celtics. They got Drew Holiday, Justin's brother, and Kristaps Porzingis. So they're a real threat. Milwaukee trades for Dame Lillard and Giannis. I mean, that's a tough duo, man. These teams, but that's the thing. These teams are making moves because the Nuggets are good, and they're trying to beat the Nuggets. So there are a lot of good NBA teams. Don't forget about the Lakers. Like I said, they have LeBron, Steph Curry with the Warriors. So the NBA is, in a sense, very wide open still. It was wide open last year. It's wide open this year. You want that because it gives you more of a chance. It's not it's the Warriors again. The Warriors are good. They're not great, but they could win the title if things go right. And there's a bunch of teams that fit into that category. So health, yeah, and just the league is so strong right now. The top teams are so strong. So, but it's set up to be a really fun season, and that's I think what we're gonna learn throughout the course of this year is every matchup every night's gonna be fun because A, that team's gonna want to beat you because of the champs, and B, there could be a superstar team coming into Ball Arena and playing the Nuggets too.
Final question for you before we get out of here. It's October the 23rd. It's hard to project out. I want to ask your prediction about that. Do you think would you consider the Nuggets to be the favorites to win?
Yeah, I don't think I think Vegas has the Bucks and the Celtics above them at the moment, which is, whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, they made trades. They're being talked about more, so that's understandable. Yeah, I think they are the favorites. When you have Nikola as the best player in the world, You have Jamal, if Jamal plays like he did in the conference finals and the finals, because there was a little difference between him playing in the regular season versus in the playoffs, but again, it's expected. He was coming off the injury. But if he plays, and he knows this too, he's talked about it too, if he plays like he did in the finals, he's an all-star this year. Jokic is an all-star. Michael Porter Jr. really wants to be an all-star this year. Aaron Gordon's talked about that desire to be an all-star too. If they have those 4 guys in an all-star, stratosphere type thing, like, there's no reason why. If they defend, and if their offense continues to be one of the best in the league, they're the favorites. And I believe that to be true right now. They're the favorites to win, and I believe they'd only be the 5th team to ever win their first 2 championships back-to-back. It's only been done, I believe, 4 other times. So that would be pretty cool to do. And, because an NBA champion back-to-back hasn't happened since 2018. So it's been hard the last couple of years. Now throw COVID in there, that's been a little wrinkle, but it would be cool for them to do it back-to-back. So we'll see. They have the tools.
They have the tools. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say you're my favorite for calling the Nuggets the favorites, so I like that.
I'm not your favorite before that?
Well, that elevated you.
Okay, good.
So I appreciate that.
Just checking.
Yeah. You're always my favorite, Jacob.
Thank you.
Even with that personal foul.
Thank you.
9 News Sports, Jacob Tobey. I know you'll be there. You'll be tracking the Nuggets throughout the season. Thanks so much for joining us and giving us a good season preview about this Denver Nuggets team. Thanks.
Go Nuggets, baby. Let's go.
Go Nuggets. Let's do it.